Lydia Dietz is the host of a supernatural talk show called Ghost House, and is in a romantic relationship with her producer, Rory. Her husband, Richard, died on a trip to the Amazon, and she is estranged from their daughter Astrid. Lydia is still able to see the dead, including Beetlejuice, the ghost who haunted her family 36 years earlier and tried to marry her, but Astrid does not believe in her powers. Lydia is contacted by her stepmother, Delia, and learns her father Charles has died, and the family gathers in Winter River, Connecticut, to bury Charles. At the wake, Rory proposes to Lydia and pressures her to accept and marry him on Halloween 2 days later. Astrid bikes through town and meets a boy named Jeremy, who she becomes close with, and he invites her to spend Halloween with him. In the afterlife, Beetlejuice now oversees an office of bioexorcists and still pines for Lydia. His ex-wife, Dolores, escapes from captivity and goes on a killing spree, draining the souls of the dead. Ghost detective Wolf Jackson warns him of this, and Beetlejuice explains to his co-workers that they met during the Black Plague, but she poisoned him as part of a ritual to become immortal and he murdered her before he succumbed. Astrid discovers Jeremy is a ghost. He asks her to come to the afterlife with him to help him regain his life in exchange for meeting her father's spirit. Lydia learns from a realtor that Jeremy is a murderer who killed his parents decades ago and died falling out of his treehouse when the police tried to arrest him. Lydia reluctantly summons Beetlejuice and signs a contract agreeing to marry him if he takes her to the afterlife to save Astrid. Wolf is notified of Beetlejuice bringing a member of the living into the afterlife and begins a manhunt for him. Beetlejuice and Lydia search for Astrid, who is being shown through the afterlife bureaucracy with Jeremy. He admits that he has tricked Astrid into exchanging her life for his, and he goes to the immigration offices to be granted passage back to the living world while Astrid is taken to the Soul Train to be sent to the great beyond. Astrid's father Richard is working nearby and follows her. Lydia pulls Astrid off the Soul Train and they escape through a portal to Saturn's moon Titan, where Richard saves them from a sandworm and brings them back to the offices. The three go to immigration as Jeremy seemingly gets his passport stamped, finalizing his exchange with Astrid, but the immigration worker is Beetlejuice, who drops Jeremy into a pit to hell. Richard shows Lydia and Astrid how to return to the living world. Meanwhile, Delia performs a ceremony in mourning for Charles and is bitten by 2 venomous asps. She arrives in the afterlife and summons Beetlejuice to help her find Charles. He agrees if Delia will help him find Lydia. Lydia and Astrid emerge from a mausoleum near the church where Rory is waiting to marry her. Beetlejuice crashes the wedding with Delia and uses truth serum to force Rory to admit he doesn't love Lydia but is only using her for her money. Beetlejuice then dresses himself and Lydia in formal clothes and prepares to marry her, when Dolores arrives seeking revenge. Astrid opens a portal to summon the sandworm from Titan and Beetlejuice leads it to devour Dolores and Rory. Wolf arrives but Beetlejuice subdues him in order to avoid arrest and continue the ceremony. Astrid reveals that because Beetlejuice illegally brought Lydia into the afterlife, their marriage contract is void. Lydia recites Beetlejuice's name 3 times and banishes him back to the afterlife. Delia returns to the afterlife with Wolf. She is reunited with Charles's spirit, and they board the Soul Train to the great beyond. Astrid and Lydia reconnect, and Lydia ends her Ghost House show in favor of going on a world tour with Astrid to visit locations she had wanted to see with Richard. However, after Astrid marries a boy and gives birth to a baby Beetlejuice, Lydia awakens in her bed, realizing it was a nightmare and that Beetlejuice has not given up on pursuing her.